When Six Flags Fiesta Texas first opened to the public in 1992, its signature attraction was a monstrous wooden roller coaster dubbed the Rattler. Standing nearly 180 feet tall with over 5,000 feet of track, its stats were very impressive even by today's standards. But over time, as the ride gained a reputation for its roughness and more popular roller coasters began to pop up around it, it became clear that something needed to change. Enter Rocky Mountain Construction, or RMC, fresh from their first wood-to-steel coaster conversion a few hours north at Six Flags over Texas. Fiesta would partner with RMC for a Rattler facelift, and in May of 2013, Iron Rattler was born. Just like the abundance of RMCs across the US today, Iron Rattler is very popular and a fantastic ride to boot. And in this video, I'm going to tell you just what you can expect when you ride this thing for yourself. Welcome to CLT Coasters. My name is Josh, and this is my complete review of Iron Rattler. As the tallest roller coaster at Fiesta Texas, Iron Rattler makes a great impression in the park's skyline, even with its location toward the back of the park. You can find it in an area known as Crack Axle Canyon, which blends steampunk theming with a Texas boomtown. Iron Rattler's theming strictly sticks to the latter, from a fully wooden station and queue to its rattlesnake name and train design, to a safety spiel with a guy who sounds a lot like OK Coasters on YouTube. The entrance is a bit tucked away, but it'll be hard to miss the impressive serpentine fountain out front. You'll pass under the entrance sign and into the queue, which is honestly one of my biggest complaints with this ride. Iron Rattler Station is elevated multiple stories above the ground, and the only way to get up there is to walk up a whole bunch of super narrow ramps. And since these are made entirely of wood, it can be a breeding ground for wasps. I honestly have no idea why they designed the queue this way, and I can imagine it'd be pretty nasty on a busy day. There is a single rider line that could save you some time, but then you would be assigned a seat with no row requests, so you decide if it's worth it for you or not. In the station, riders will be dispersed between 12 rows, but the ops seem to be taking row requests on my visit, which is good because Iron Rattler is 100% a back row ride. As far as trains go, these are my favorite trains on any RMC. It's one of just two RMCs with trains manufactured by Gerstlauer, and the lap bars are extremely comfortable. Not to mention the rattlesnake design on the Zero car looks fantastic. Unfortunately, I've never seen ride ops staple as bad as the ones at Iron Rattler. I get that the trains aren't super accommodating, and I know the reason why they do it, but I feel like the way they were doing it on my visit was pretty overkill. Don't sweat it too much though, because the ride is still awesome either way. Once you dispatch, you'll round a giant unbanked turn to the left with some nice lateral Gs before climbing the ride's 179 foot tall lift hill. Unlike pretty much every RMC lift hill, this one is actually pretty quiet, so surprise surprise, you'll actually be able to hear the person next to you. It's actually built onto the park's quarry wall, and you'll have a great view to take in before plummeting down one of the best first drops in the world. This is easily my favorite part of Iron Rattler. Not only are you dropping 171 feet at an 81-degree angle, but it banks to the left on the way down, creating a vicious combo of ejector airtime and laterals. Except for maybe the 200-foot RMCs, Iron Rattler is my favorite first drop from this manufacturer. You bottom out and twist through a covered section of track before popping up onto the quarry wall, getting a great pop of ejector airtime in the process. Next up are two consecutive overbanked turns. The first one, angled at 110 degrees to the left, has some nice weightlessness. The second one, angled at 95 degrees, has some weaker weightlessness, but it also has some great speed as you begin to dive off the side of the wall once again. The pullout from this swooping drop has some very solid positive G-forces, which you don't typically feel much on RMCs, so it's a nice change of pace. This is followed by another rise back onto the quarry wall, culminating in Iron Rattler's only inversion, a 0G roll. This roll has some amazing float, and you'll be hovering out of your seat throughout the entire element. Now comes the most underrated portion of the ride by far. This short sequence of elements dancing along the top of the wall often gets frowned upon for being slow-paced, earning it the nickname the Quarry Crawl. But I'm here to declare that Iron Rattler, especially during this part of the ride, has good pacing, and you'll be doing anything but crawling up here. You hop over an ejector-filled bunny hill before twisting through two more overbanked turns that turn you right and left respectively. These funky elements give a weird combination of lateral hang time and some mild airtime, and the surrounding supports result in some nice head choppers in the process. This is followed by another small bunny hill with some more nice ejector, lining riders up for the infamous dive off the quarry wall. I do think people hype up this drop a little too much, but it still delivers with some great and sustained ejector airtime as you plummet back to the ground. You'll cap off your ride on Iron Rattler by careening around a banked turn to the left, then twisting right as you tunnel through the quarry wall, before launching into the final brakes with one last violent pop of ejector. Given the ride's 3,266-foot track length, 70-mile-per-hour top speed, and underrated pacing, Iron Rattler is over pretty quickly, but it doesn't waste any elements. It's strictly about quality over quantity, and the strong execution ultimately makes this a world-class roller coaster. Many roller coasters of this scale and intensity aren't always the smoothest rides, but as with most RMCs, Iron Rattler has no such issue. Every inch of the layout is butter smooth, and I think it's the smoothest coaster at Fiesta Texas. Combine this with the Gerstlauer trains, which have comfortable seats that contour your body as well as unrestricted lap bars, and you've got one of the most comfortable RMC creations to date. And last but not least, there is a gift shop at the bottom of the exit ramp that has a pretty nice selection of souvenirs, including this stupidly inaccurate set of pins that can't even get the stats right for Goliath. Way to go, Six Flags, way to go. So what's my final verdict on Iron Rattler? I think this is an amazing roller coaster that makes the most of its pretty short layout. Even though it's one of the oldest RMCs, it can still go head to head with their newer projects. On a scale of 1 to 10, Iron Rattler's getting a perfect 10. As of now, this is my favorite coaster in the state of Texas and one of my favorites anywhere. And with its enormous drops and picturesque setting, this is sure to be an icon at Fiesta Texas for decades to come. So those are my complete thoughts on Iron Rattler, the RMC hybrid coaster at Six Flags Fiesta Texas. Feel free to leave any thoughts you have down in the comments. If you haven't already, please consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Each one helps me out tremendously. And be sure to check out CLT Coasters on Instagram. The link's down in the description. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Take care, everybody.